my loves, my inkies. I'm having a few technical issues, so I'm going to do a chatty video that doesn't require me to do a lot of edits and things because my computer, my work computer, is not traveling so well, and it's starting to absolutely stress me out. I have a genius appointment booked for the weekend, so I couldn't get in on Thursday night when I tried. They were completely booked out and they wouldn't even take walk-ins, so I traveled quite a long way for a big fat nothing. So I thought I would sit down, because I can't really think straight at the moment, and talk about creative journey, creative style, and comparing yourself to others, and how comparison is the thief of joy when it comes to your journals. Now, I have these pep talks with you guys maybe once every 6 months because I see a lot of it in the social media world. I see a lot of it within yourselves, within your posts, and it may not be your posts within the Inky group. No. I make sure I watch people from afar like a weird stalker, but I watch how people interact and how we all get down on ourselves, even myself included, when we're looking at our own work in our own journals and thinking, oh my goodness, I am nowhere near good enough, my journal shouldn't be shown, yada, yada, yada. And so I have bundled up a whole heap of my old journals, and that's my traveler's notebook, some of my stuff when I was in high school, all that sort of stuff. I've been journaling a really long time. I've had one since I've been about 10 years old. I think maybe is when my nan's one. She first gave me my first journal, and I mean journaling as in just journaling. It doesn't have to be what you consider journaling today, because what is considered journaling today is a whole nother beast as to what I was doing when I was 10, 11. It was all written, and there was maybe one photograph or one magazine clipping, which you'll see in some of my older journals, but it's all journaling, it's all a journey. And so we're gonna have a little pep talk chat about it, and that means that I won't have to do a heap of edits, and maybe my computer can handle it. I've had it crash constantly. It's just being an absolute nightmare, and my external hard drive is in jeopardy at the moment with years and years of work. So I'm currently in that frazzled mindset, and I tried to sit down and start a little bit of a hobo video, and it's not going anywhere fast, so I'll come back to that because my brain is in the, oh my goodness, I don't want to lose all my work, and my computer's only 2 years old, so there's no reason for it to be having meltdowns now. So fingers crossed the guys at Apple on the weekend can help, because this is not fun. This is not fun at all. So I thought maybe a chatty video talking about creativity and style and journaling and the journey would be a lot less stressful than me trying to draw and paint and be creative on command for you guys. And sometimes these pep talks do you guys a world of good. Even though I do them every few months, every 6 months, and they're along the same lines, they seem to be needed in order to refresh your sense of self and where you are in your journaling journey. These are some of my older journals. I've shown them many times before, whether it be to talk about poetry in your journals or to talk about creative style, but these are the ones that I from about my high school period all the way through. Let me just double check that these are the oldest. Yes, from my high school to basically uni and a little bit into just after uni. I think this one is just a little bit after uni. This is when I lived in England, so this is after uni. I think it goes this one, this one, this one, and then these were around high school. Do I have any year on these? 2001. So yeah, 2001 for this one, and this one's gotten a bit damaged with all the moving that I've done, and there's absolutely 0 dates on these, but I'm pretty sure this is like my first year of uni, around uni time, and then this one is like my last year of high school. So I didn't care about what journal I was using. I mean, this one was leather, this one was sold as leather, but as you can see, it has been through the wrecker, and this one is just a cheap lined notebook that I don't know, I must have found in a shop or something like that. But I'm trying to suggest that your journals can be absolutely anything. Now, what you see on Instagram and what you see on Pinterest are beautiful to look at. absolutely beautiful. I am a sucker for staring at journal pictures. I am a sucker for looking at beautiful flat lays of things. But then when you look at these things too many times and you see absolutely everyone around you in the journaling community doing these beautiful flat lays with all their beautiful items and all their spreads in their journal look stunning and perfected, that is not an accurate look at the world when it comes to journals. I have been keeping journals for such a long time, and I want you to see, yeah, this is from me in high school, but I didn't just start journaling the way that you see me doing now. Oh, no way, no how. There is no way that I could possibly jump into keeping a journal and be where I am today. No way. It takes years and years and years of finding out what you like. It takes years and years and years of doing it every single day. I've got letters here. I've got my uni acceptance into my degree from Griffith University. I've got emails, I've got photos, I've got letters from people, Sailor Moon pictures. I was a Moonie back then too, guys. It is about putting those bits and pieces of your life down into your journal and not stressing about all the crazy stuff that everyone else is doing. It can definitely make you feel inferior, and it can definitely make you feel like you shouldn't even try and begin, because what's the point? My journal's not going to look like this person's or this person's. My journal's never going to look like Courtney's, and I don't want your journal to look like mine. I want you to know that we all come from a beginning, and it just so happens that my beginning was not broadcasted across the internet. You never saw where I started. You guys never saw my journals that look like this on the internet. You would have you've never seen them unless I flipped through them. If I decided not to flip through them for this kind of purpose, you would have thought that my journaling is this sort of stuff. Because you've never seen my chapter 1. Because back when I was doing journaling, there was nothing like this. The internet was just beginning. So if you're jumping into journaling as a beginner, you don't get to see people's beginnings, because there's no way that half of the people in the world are not going to show this sort of stuff. It's my class, my Bachelor of Creative Arts, and I majored in art and writing, creative writing. This is my beginning. And if you had seen this online, you would have scrolled past it, because it's not aesthetically pleasing. It's not beautiful. It may be to some people, but this sort of stuff doesn't get shown anymore, because no one wants to be a beginner and no one wants to show their chapter 1, chapter 10. They want to show the finished novel that's bestseller list. And that's kind of where I think people who are just getting into journaling or are still finding their feet when it comes to journaling get so intimidated. Because we're looking at people's perfected, curated versions of their journals. We're not seeing the mess and the scribbles and the bits and pieces, the falling apart. And when it comes to style and things, there are certain things that I've been doing a whole lot. And this was around my first year of uni. And collage and vintage and stuff like that. Maybe I should scan that page and make that a background for you guys, because I actually really love the look of this. I'd have to tweak it and stuff with some hand drawing over it to make it sort of legal, and I loved all this sort of stuff. All this stuff, which is really popular now, which is interesting, is I was doing this back in high school and back in the first year of uni. But all this sort of stuff is just paper and collage and enjoying that process. You need to find, when it comes to your creative style, if you're still thinking, oh my goodness, I'm never gonna have never going to know my creative style. I'm never going to find it. When am I going to find it? Your style will come from so many different places, so many different influences. It is like an amalgamation of your favorite colors, your favorite mediums, your favorite artists, your favorite way of putting things on, putting pen to paper. All this sort of stuff is stuff that you will be instantly drawn to. It will be stuff that you love and you're continually doing. Your style generally develops by doing the same things over and over and over again, and it becomes second nature to you. And it is so interesting to watch how people's stuff has developed and how people's style has developed, but it's there. It's growing. You're nurturing it every day that you intentionally work in your journal and you find something you like and you go, oh, I like that. I might put that in my journal. And then you keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And slowly you see less and less of the other person and more of you. That's adding to your style. I did a lot of digital art. I glued in a lot. I added poetry. I cut up magazines. These are things that I do now already, still to this day, just in a more refined way and with a lot more intention than I did back there. I mean, there was intention in what I was doing, but it was always there. All the same things that I'm doing today are in these journals already. It's just I've learned how to do them with a bit more finesse, a bit more clear thinking, a bit more aesthetics in mind. And that is something that I mean, when I say aesthetics, I mean aesthetics to me. What I find visually appealing, not what everyone else is doing, because I know my stuff looks completely different to what the popular type of journaling is at the moment on Instagram. And don't get me wrong, that stuff is stunning and I really wish I could master that art, but we all saw how I did vintage. It was not pretty. But I can definitely see these are things that I have been doing for years and years and years, and nothing's changed, just how I apply these things. You could have been doing sketching in your journals back in the day, and now you're still doing it. This is using love letters and highlighting them. I think this was brought up recently in the Facebook group, and I did a video on it. If you want me to do another one of those poetry in motion, I think that was the name of the actual the video was called Poetry in Motion, and it's creating poetry out of either books, magazines, but I actually used love letters. Me and my mom. But there's doodling, there's collage, there's photographs, and you see all this in my journals today. All this stuff is all evident and visual and visually in my actual journal already, that you see just yesterday or whenever the last video that you watched in my in Patreon or on YouTube. All this stuff is still here. This is me putting scrapbooking paper through my printer and putting a self-portrait over it, so my photo overlays over the scrapbook paper, and then just cutting it. So I think there's a poem I've written and a self-portrait, and I've thrown an old piece of scrapbook paper through the printer at the same time, and that's how I've gotten that. See, these types of things, I should probably talk about these types of things because I used to do it so much. I used to print on all types of paper. I used to overlay self-portraits to get creativity. I always used to use, I did my life in chapters from when I moved from the Gold Coast or from Inverell to the UK, and it was all about that process. There's another one. printing a photo of me and my girlfriend on a piece of scrapbook paper. But these applications can be used already in our journaling practices today. It's just I've grown up. I've got access to more supplies. I made a lot of digital art when I was in that sort of, I didn't have access to all the things that I have now, because it was the easiest way for me to express myself was to create digital art and make layer upon layer of things. And I do the same thing now. That's another letter that's been ripped up. The Depression, chapter 4. A lot of writing. Not as much drawing because I didn't feel confident enough, but that came with time. But always adding ephemera and trying to sketch things in the room. Adding postcards. I don't even know who this one's from. A lot of the photos have been removed, I think. Sketching, it's 2005. Still adding photos. So as you can see, my creative journey has not changed almost at all. My creativity is pretty much the same. Not much has changed at all. It's just I got better at making it look and more cohesive. I still do all these digital things. I still alter my photos, but I don't do it in such a way that I used to overlay text images and I used to overlay this, that, and the next thing. I was putting overlays over photographs and things to give them this sort of thing, adding flowers to my eyes. That is something that you see evident in my Whimsy Warriors. So I love to do that back here in whenever it was. I want to say there's more butterflies near the eyes. 2004. So there's 2 years before I had Elijah. More collage with all different papers. Adding ephemera. This was from my wedding bouquet when I got married the first time, as was these ones. It does make me uncomfortable flipping through some of these because obviously these chapters of my life are very much over and did not end very well. But they are a documentation of my style and my feelings, and you can definitely see how everything changes and how I went from feeling very confident in myself and feeling very okay with everything to feeling really sad and really depressed, and sort of documenting that in the way of my sort of photographs and my art and my writing. It's definitely very emotional seeing some of these. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond our measure. So I was putting quotes and things into my journals. I was still doodling, still adding ephemera, still adding scrapbook papers, whatever I could get my hands on. I used to buy magazines from the op shop because this is when I lived in in Burrell. So a little country town that didn't have that much access to these sorts of things. and it just got sort of worse and worse, and I didn't journal for a really long time. But looking back now, I can definitely see that all this sort of stuff is still very evident in the journals that you are seeing today. So I obviously don't do as much of this sort of stuff as in just flat pack magazine clippings, but I'm definitely using my journals in such a way where I am adding photographs and collages and drawings and things. And this is like 2000. It would be great if you actually put an actual date. This is all about dating your work, but who would know what year? 2016. So 3 years ago, just under 3 years ago. And this is probably 2005, because it was the journal that I found out I was pregnant with my son, Elijah. So I think that's pretty much, there's a huge shift, but it's just as we grow, we get better. By doing it over and over, you get better and better and better. You can work out what you love, what you don't love, what you like in other people's stuff, but at the same time, don't try and take their complete style, because that's just taking away all that hard work of the artists that are actually doing it. And I feel like you will never be happy with your journal style if you're like, I just want to be like XYZ. I just want my journal to look like hers. I just want to do this. You need to experiment and play and find what you like. Try different things, but don't go and go, well, I'm just going to journal like her. Gee, this journal needs some serious surgery. Oh, poor baby. This journal is a book that my girlfriend brought back from Paris. She went to Paris and I didn't get to go with her at the time, and I was really sad, but she brought me back this beautiful book. And I loved it, and it sort of brought me back to feeling sort of joy and happiness. We'd met through uni, but we were both met through our love of journaling. And so when she brought me back a journal, I treasured it so much. Yeah, righty. Lots of, this is like a 3D element. Photographs. We went and had tea. I mean, my glue is not coping, but when is my glue ever? But these sorts of things, using photographs to illustrate what I want. I love photography and I love photographs in my journal. So it's something that I've kept in my journal for years and years and years. I think this is around when I was sending mail to a girlfriend of mine, and we were doing like a photo a day where we would send each other a week's worth of our, like, a photo a day. So these are like photos of her, and this is the girlfriend that I said that we met through university. So we have journaling photos, and we sent pictures, and she's got my photos at home. Tea party with my sister, 2006 this was. So this was just after I'd had Elijah, obviously. But I'm not sure where my journals went after that. But let's sort of change a bit, and let's talk about creativity and having a look at some of my, like, one of my old art journals. This is not my oldest, but it's also not my best either. You can tell that I've been through an art journey, and some of these pages are online and some of them are not. But that's because, like I said, you don't get to see my chapter 1 when it comes to my art. If I could track down my high school sketchbooks, I definitely would find them. I think they're in the studio somewhere. This is not my art, not my drawing. As you can see, my art journal was not all that great, and it's very, very basic. Although my sketches are still very basic, but that's become my art style. It's become what I enjoy to do, and it's become my favorite way to journal those types of things. So this girl down here. So this sort of stuff is my, I think it's just after I had Elia. No, it would have been when I just had Lily. And I was just getting back into journaling after I had walked out on my ex-husband. He broke me creatively, and so I had to sort of learn to walk all over again. I had to learn to crawl creatively all over again. My poor journal's not coping all that well. But I don't like any of this, but it's needed and it's necessary for me to keep going forward and for me to feel like I've achieved something. Some of these I still like I really like the boldness of her, and I really liked her for some reason. There are a few bits and pieces. This was like a direct copy of something that Willowing did. So I was using artists that I admired as a way to sort of learn, but it wasn't something that I put out there and went, this is what I did, like this is mine. It's not. I directly watched her create it and tried to emulate what she was doing. Same with this. Not this. I love her. And I don't know if you guys have got her before, but I would really love to put her up because for some reason I love all the texture and the colors and all the writing. And I think this is over a letter. And I could just, maybe if I fixed her up a little bit and gave her a little bit of a zhuzh, because someone did ask me for a bee. She could be a bee, couldn't she? I mean, if I gave her a little bit more sort of attention, maybe that should be a video of me fixing up old art pieces in my journal. But then that would defeat the purpose of having a journal of like, this is my old art style. I don't love a lot of the pieces in here, but they're definitely necessary in order to go forward. And this is inspired art as well, and I've even written it on the side. So these aren't my drawings, aren't my designs. This is not how I would draw today. Even the cover, not my design. And I can safely say that now. Well, I can say it before. I would never take someone's art as my own, especially if it was inspired. But I also don't try and tell people, oh, this is my journal, I made this. No, no, no. Volume 1. So let's get into the more journaling that you guys are kind of thinking about as journaling, because this is kind of where I this is where I spent a lot of my time on YouTube. This is where you know me from, and this is kind of where I did a lot of my journaling and where I became a bit more known publicly for my journaling, more for this sort of stuff than anything else, as well as my sewing book journal, which I get so many questions about, and I want to continue doing stuff in it, but at the same time I almost feel like I've grown past that sort of journaling. Not grown past it, but it doesn't bring me as much joy as it used to. And I really love the way that I journal now, whether it be in my Hobonichi or whether it be in my B6 journal. But you can tell that the same sorts of things are still very evident. Collages, photographs, color, there's a bit more color being used now, but I'm still doing a whole lot of the same things that I was doing. This is in 2014. This is still years and years and years ago. And I'm slowly sort of figuring out what I like and what I don't like when it comes to journaling. I don't know if I did any journal with me's in this one, because I feel like there's not that much to actually journal, like there's not heaps as way of like techniques or things like that. It's just a lot of the same sort of stuff. Layering bags over. And I think when you get into the public eye, you become a lot less experimental. You don't do as many things because you want it to be perfect. And I feel like that has stifled a lot of creativity when it comes to you guys and when it comes to people in the community, because people don't want to have their mistakes on social media. As a rule, mostly. I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying that's like a general feeling that I get, that people don't want to create ugly stuff or ugly art journal pages or boring journal pages for the internet. When a journal is for you and you alone, and if you so inclined to share your journals, then so be it, but you shouldn't be creating your journal pages based on what other people want to see, or based on what's already out there, what's popular, what's trending, what's going to get you the most likes. That sort of stuff is just going to crush your creativity before you've even found it. It's going to crush any chances you have at finding your own creative style, because you'll always be trying to create for other people and you won't be creating for yourself. And creating for yourself and your journal pages and your family is the best way possible to sort of get your journaling to go, basically. So a lot of this stuff is exactly the same as it was in high school. I just have nicer photographs. I just have more color. I have more access to things like washi tape, because it wasn't a thing. It wasn't a thing here in Australia when I was in high school. I would use scraps of paper and magazines to create my borders as like tape. Which journal was I showing you it in? Was it this one? No. Trying to think which one it is. It must be this one. Yeah. Using this sort of stuff as borders. Creating borders with scraps of paper. I was doing that because washi tape didn't exist. I mean, I would have gone so ham as a teenager with all the stuff that I have access to now. It would have been amazing. And then I think about what kind of journal I would have today if I had access to this type of things I have now back then. Would my journaling style still be the same, or would have it completely morphed? And these are the types of questions that I think about all the time. Would be, how would I journal now if I had access to washi tape and stickers and pocket printers and all the cool stuff that journalers of today get access to or have at their disposal if they wish to. But all of this stuff is exactly the same. It's just done in a more deliberate way. I have sat and thought about it because it's being publicly viewed by you guys. I still journal for me. I always journal for me, but I do put more effort and more bells and whistles into the journal pages that I show you guys, because I always want it to be a teaching moment. I always want it to be something that you feel like you legitimately feel like you've gotten something out of it. But if I was journaling for myself with no cameras going, it would be a lot like this, because I actually really like the minimalistic type feel of this sort of stuff. Volume 1, Volume 2, that's Volume 4. Don't know where my other one is. But I have this one, so we'll pull that one out. It's still using photographs. It's still using collage. I'm still doodling. I'm still drawing. I'm still painting. I'm still adding bits and pieces from my life. But I've worked out and I've grown to figure out what I like the look of. And I still play and I still add the same sort of elements. Nothing's changed in my journaling since I was in high school. But I've just gotten better at expressing myself creatively. And that comes with time and practice. And that's the most beneficial advice I could possibly give you is it all comes with time and the act of doing. The intentional act of putting that time down and going, okay, I'm going to journal every day. And then as you get better and better and more confident, your journal will start to feel more like you than like imitations of other people that you've seen online. I love where my journaling style has gone. There's not one part of my journaling style that I don't like. I really do enjoy how it has developed and changed, and I love that there's more color and all the different emotions. I'm still doing all those things. I'm still creating the same way that I was before, but I feel like I have grown as a person. I feel like my life experiences definitely are completely different to when I was journaling back when I was with my ex. My shadow self, as I used to call it, was very sad and depressed and very, very lonely. And my journals were very monotone, very black and white, very neutral. And that's because I didn't feel like myself. And when John and I got together, I slowly started incorporating more and more color into my art. And it's definitely a huge reflection on how I feel as a person and how I feel as an artist. He definitely brought me back to life when it comes to my art and my drawing and how I carry myself, and that is definitely something that will be evident in your journal style, your experiences or who you are as a person and your likes and dislikes. That doesn't mean that if you've got a very neutral based journal that you're a very sad person. No. But when it comes to me personally, color is my life force. It has become something that I have embraced like crazy in the last few years, and it makes me feel more empowered, and it makes me feel more in control and more myself and more powerful. And so my journals reflect color because it's how I feel powerful, how I feel empowered, and what I like to see coming back at me. And that is where style and preference and love and your surroundings and what you find beautiful will be different in your journals, because everyone is an individual and everyone's style is different. And it also means that if you're just getting into journaling and you've got absolutely no idea, you need to do a few years of the doing before you work out what you love. And I want you to try and look at, I understand that looking at journals is like beautiful and lovely. I need to do more of these windows. I absolutely love them. I should do a video on YouTube for that. Poor YouTube, needs some love. I wholeheartedly believe that we as journal keepers spend far too much time looking at other people's journals. I also really love this. I get sidetracked. There are some things in these journals where I go, I haven't done that in a really long time and I really loved it. I'm going to do it again. These types of things. There are things in here that I absolutely love. Like I loved this sort of look. I need to do that again. I'm looking back and getting re-inspired by my own journals, and that is something else that you should do. There's got to be stuff in your journals that you love about them because you did it once before and you go, oh, I haven't done that color combination for a while. I might do that again. And this is like where I stand. There are pages that haven't been finished and I probably should go back and finish them, but I'm okay with them not being finished. I really loved all the borders. I should go back and make some tip-ins like that because I think that'd be really cute. And this was like a multi-layered. I really loved how this looked. I love her. I love her. Love him. But looking back through old journals, there's got to be stuff that you've done ages and ages ago and you go, oh, I really love that. I should do that again. But with all your new experiences and all your new likes, new mediums, you may do the same technique. It may look completely different because we change as people and we change with how we keep our journals and how we do our journals and how we create within our journals. So I want you to really stop comparing yourself when it comes to your journaling. Yes, it's lovely to look at beautiful journals because you love following people that have the same passion as you. I get that more than anything. I love passionate people, people that are passionate about the same things I am. I'm enamored by them. I could sit and listen to someone talk about journaling for hours, which is what you're doing when you listen to me talk about journaling. But at the same time, we have to sort of work out what we need to listen to and what we don't need to listen to, and just start doing stuff in our journals. I love this journal page. This was such a huge hit here on Patreon and a huge hit on YouTube. I have seen this guy in many iterations, many versions come up in journals all over the Instagram, whether it be knowing or not knowing. I can instantly tell they've watched the Show Up video based on that guy alone. But a lot of the stuff that I am doing in my journal pages, I've been doing it all my life. I've just worked out that I like what I like. It's the same stuff. It may be boring to people, but I don't care. I absolutely love it. And I need to do more of these capture pages. I freaking loved these, and I loved how they turned out. And I love color pages that are all color themed, like these sorts of things with the blues and the purples. I love that as well. I need to do more of that. See, even me sitting here and looking through my journal pages with you guys, I'm instantly thinking about, oh, I even painted on my scarf. I love these types of things. Oh, look at me go with my multi-level tip-in. I should do a tip-in idea, like a tip-in video. Tip-in tips. Because I do love me some tip-ins. Oh man, I forgot all these. From Vicky. I think these are all like pages, morning pages. Yeah, which I love. I loved making morning pages. I loved how they looked and felt in this journal. This is the 7 Seas Crossfield. And then I was playing against the hump, and the hump got to me, and it was just killing me. And I was trying to journal in here, but it just never... I didn't cope very well with the hump. And let's go with this one. So you've seen some of my oldest journals. There ain't much difference. Which one should I pull out? Let's pull out my poor Paris journal, which is sadly falling very much apart. Let's see. There is approximately so this would have been, I reckon, 2005. And this is 2018. Because it would have started, I think, in 2018. Or even the beginning of 2019. No, this is when Boo had her birthday party. So there is not that much difference in what I was doing back here to here. There is a heap of time gaps between these, but there's not that much difference in what I was doing. I've just evolved, and I've learned how to creatively harness my energy and do it in a more aesthetically pleasing way. But I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I will attempt to change every now and again. I will try and experiment. I'll always learn. I'll always look at other people's things, but I will always find where I feel comfortable, and that will take you a long time to get there, because I've been doing this a very long time and I'm very secure in how I journal and my style, and that takes time and practice and learning. And if you're going to do something that's inspired by someone else, you make sure you tag that artist, because they've probably worked a really long time to get there. And sometimes it breaks that artist when they see something that they know they've taught someone, or they know that that style is theirs and they've worked really hard to get it. You need to think about those things, because there's a huge journey behind everyone's art. And especially if you're just starting out, you need to talk about being inspired by someone, or keep it off social media, which is hard, especially when you are very proud of something that you've done. But you also need to think about how that artist would feel if they saw basically something that they've worked really, really hard to develop and style, and someone's gone out there and copied it and left no credit at all. And then they think, oh, well, what's the point? So you got to think about these things, but I really don't want you comparing your journals or your journey to anyone else's, because it's just going to leave you in a place of sadness and despair and paralysis, creative paralysis. And I'm talking from experience here. I definitely go through stages where I've taken in too much social media. I've looked at too many videos. I've watched too many more illustrators than anything else, because journaling, I'm really okay with my journaling style. I love how I do it. I'm all good. But when it comes to art and drawing, that's where my insecurities play up huge, because I feel I've got such a long way to go. And when I see other people's art, I think, oh my goodness, I know nothing. And so I'm comparing where I am in my journey to where they are, where they've probably been drawing a lot longer than me, had a lot more time, don't have kids to occupy them. There are lots of factors in other people's lives that we don't see, but we instantly go, well, I'm never going to be as good as they are. We're instantly defeated. And I don't want that to happen when it comes to your journals and it comes to your style, whether it be your art, your drawing, your journaling, any part of your life that's creative. Trying to compare yourself to someone else is only going to make you sad and upset, and it's just going to stop you from doing anything. And then your journey will be stagnant until you're ready to get up and try again. And sometimes that may take months and years, or you may never want to try again. And that makes me sad. I'm here to show you as much as I possibly can when it comes to creating your journals, showing you different ways, different mediums, different types of things, different ways of documenting your ideas and your feelings, because I've done a lot of this before. And so I'm continually trying to figure out new ways to do things, and that's so that I can show people that may be just starting, hey, this is quite easy, you could do it too. But then there are days when I try and go really super complicated, and then people get overwhelmed. So I try and show you both sides of the coin, but know that I've been journaling for a humongous chunk of my life, and it's taken a long time to get where I am, and you haven't seen my starting points, because social media wasn't a thing when I started. So starting in this era is a whole lot scarier than starting way back when no one was showing their first journal pages. No one was there. No one was doing that. The world is too highly curated for my liking, and it breeds comparison, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to enjoy this process of creativity. I want you to enjoy keeping your journals. I want you to enjoy doing these things, and it give you joy, and it give your family joy. And I don't want you to feel like you'll never get as good as that person, because we are all on different journeys. Our style is all unique to us. It's all about our influences, what influences us. It's all about our experiences in life. Our style is as unique as we are. Our journals are as unique as we are. There are no two identical journals in the world, unless you're really creepy and you're trying to do something shady. But that is all I'm gonna say. I can already feel my throat killing me because I've talked so much. And I hope that sort of helped you, take you a bit down memory lane, show you that I have not been the most perfectionist journaler or drawer or keeper at all. It just means that my startings and beginnings were never publicized, are not really out there. Some of my art journal videos are out there, and that's okay. It's a good way to see how I've grown as an artist. And I've had amazing teachers in my life to help to get me where I am, and I hope that I'm one of those teachers in your lives that help you get to where you are. So I hope that this is a kind of video that you can listen to again and again and again if you need it. Please keep journaling and do it without comparing yourself to everyone else on the internet, because I feel like you'll just stunt your creative growth, and I'm not here to do that. I'm here to help you grow as much as possible in as quick as time as possible as I've got you, because you may only stay with me for a month. You may have been here since the beginning, but I will help you nonetheless as fast and as quickly and as much as I've got to inside me creatively. I will give it to you, because I just want you to enjoy the creativity and to enjoy the journey of keeping a journal and drawing and illustrating and all that sort of stuff. So I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Make sure you connect with your journal today or this weekend. Set out some time if you haven't had any, or if you've had a time where you have had no journaling whatsoever. I want you to definitely get those journals out, or your journal, and just put pen to paper. Even if it's making backgrounds, if it's making collages, whatever you feel you need to do something, just do something creative this weekend to help your soul. In these really scary times in our world when you feel like everything is falling apart, I think our journal is a definite safe haven for those moments when you feel like there's nothing left. And as you can see with my journals, have definitely been a safe haven for me, especially through some of my most hardest and terrifying times in my life. So I definitely think journaling is the way to go, especially with all the crap that we go through in our lives. Have a wonderful weekend, Inkies, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.